welcome to episode 38 of the Fashion Feed podcast. Today's guest is Kayleigh Benoit of Bind London, and we're talking about crowdfunding during a pandemic. During the BLM movement, I came across Kayleigh's page via Katie Ramsing's Instagram, who was my guest on episode 35. And I honestly couldn't be happier about it. Kayleigh's positive energy and vibrant motivation on her crowdfunding page was contagious, so I got in touch about her being on the podcast. She was frustrated when shopping for headwear and the fact that there wasn't anything for her hair type on the market, so she created her own. Bind London is a culturally inclusive headwear range. That is a mouthful. Includes 2 bands, a headscarf, head wrap, hijab and do-rag, which is currently in production and due to launch this summer. In this episode, we discuss how Kayleigh came up with the idea for her business, her power hour each morning and what that involves, which products Kayleigh's launching in Bind London, the Natwest back her business crowdfunding process, how she used LinkedIn to reach her target, launching a business during a world pandemic and racial movement. So I hope you enjoy the episode. If you did, then I would absolutely love it if you could go on Apple Podcasts and leave me a short review. It means that other people can find the podcast who also enjoy hearing about other small businesses within the fashion industry. And I just really like hearing what you've got to say as well. So it's always good to get some feedback. And here's Kayleigh.
Okay, cool. Well, this is recording anyway, so we can just get started. I've never done one from my bed before. This feels really weird. But welcome to the podcast, Kayleigh. I don't know how to say your surname. How do you introduce it and then I can follow?
Yeah, sure. I'm Kayleigh Benoit. It's French.
How nice.
Thank you.
I bet some of the people that say it are probably like Ben Deutsch.
I get Benoit a lot. Yeah. Kayleigh
Yes.
Benoit.
And we've only known each other like a couple of weeks, but I found your crowdfunding page on somebody's Instagram. I think it was Katie Ramsing, who's also been on the podcast, who shared it.
I listened to her episode the other day.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome as a guest. And do you want to introduce yourself further than the name, like who you are, what you do, where you're from?
Absolutely. So hi everyone, I'm Kayleigh and I'm the founder of a high fashion sportswear brand called Bind London. Bind London is a fitness and athleisure brand, and we specialise in headwear that protects against sweat, heat and moisture, and we are the first brand of its kind to cater for all hair types and textures.
Incredible. How many times have you said that now?
Many, very many.
Many more to come, hopefully.
Yeah,
and so you've got this this brand, but I'm assuming it's not what you have done up until this point. What do you do in like your day-to-day life as well?
Yeah, so my background is education. So I've been in education for 10 years. Started as a teaching assistant and worked myself up to assistant head in like a really short space of time. And I've always loved fashion. I've always loved teaching. I like style. I got into fitness whilst I was teaching. And I always knew that I wanted to do something that involved all of those things, but I didn't know what. And I did say once I hit a certain milestone, I would know what I wanted to do. And I didn't. Naturally, I think organically, a couple of years later, the idea for Bind London just came. It's crazy.
That's so nice when like I had it once. I think it was at the end of a yoga class, and I was just lying there being like, oh my God, this is what I'm here to do. And it was like, I wonder, did your idea come when you were quite relaxed by any chance? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember specifically where I was, what I was doing, and it was very relaxed. It was actually the last couple of weeks of the summer term, and I actually wasn't well at the time, so I missed like the last week of school, and I was in the garden. I was reading a book called Slay in Your Lane, and it was a chapter about business, And I had thought about it, but it was literally the next day I woke up and thought, this would be a great idea. Yeah, I like this. I think I'm going to pursue it further. It was a holiday, so my mind had the time to just have my ideas and my vision grow, and it was very much as simple as that.
Yeah, I do say that to people, that it's, but then sometimes I don't listen to the advice myself, like giving your time to switch off. That's when the best ideas come. And it's like when you're either in the bathroom, on the toilet, in the bath, driving, or on a plane, and all of those times is when you don't have the internet, and like you were reading a book and you're disconnected from technology. It's like that's when the best ideas arrive.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever I'm walking my dog, that's when I have the best clarity, and that's where I think of the best ideas, and then I'll go home
Yeah,
before I forget. So yeah, definitely in those times.
And so when you said about starting your fitness journey, was it about 7 years ago that you said that kind of came into your life? Where did that start from?
Yeah, so I mean, I started my fitness journey just from a place of being vain, if I'm being completely transparent.
Yeah.
I wanted to look decent for a holiday, like many people. Not ashamed to say it. I just wanted to
Where
get
were you going?
I was going to Barcelona,
Nice.
my friends, and it was like a friend holiday, so we're like, yeah, bikinis on, look nice and feel confident. And yeah, I just really got into fitness, really enjoyed it, and just took it further, and it just kind of went beyond shape. I got stronger, and I noticed that it was positively affecting aspects of my work. I had more energy to do more, and people noticed a difference in me, and my level of productivity. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think anyone who's into fitness knows that once you challenge yourself with one thing and you achieve it, you continue with that, and then you want a bigger goal. So ends up being in the gym, and then it was a 5k, now a 10k, a half marathon. There's like no end. And I think fitness principles relate really well to business, because I think once you've got that fitness discipline, they're skills that are quite easily transferable. So yeah, fortunately it's working out nicely.
And I saw on your Instagram about doing the power hour thing. Is that from the podcast by Adrian? Is that where it came from?
It is randomly, it isn't, and I need
Yeah.
to Adrian's Power Hour podcast. I mean, I don't take credit for the Power Hour at all. It's something that my friend has been doing for a while, and then we, like a group of us girls, we do it together at 6:30, and then a few of my friends from my business group were like, "What's this Power Hour that you're doing?" And I said, "Just do one at 5:30," and yeah. And it was supposed to be once a week, and they love it so much. We do it every single day.
Amazing. And what's like the structure of it? Or is
It's really random, because I've had loads of people in the DMs asking me about the magic of a power hour, and there is no magic. It is simply we log on to Zoom, we see each other on Zoom, we give each other a wave, and literally that is it. We just work for the hour. Zooms are muted. We're just working for an hour. We don't talk. It's literally just accountability.
Yeah.
So we see each other, literally log on, get on with work, and we've made that effort, and it just kickstarts the rest of our day. We're in like our gym jams.
Yeah.
Tea, but it's nice because we all really feel refreshed afterwards.
That's such a good idea. I might steal that. Find somebody to log in the morning with me. Are you a morning person, or do you struggle? Is that why you started it?
Oh, I'm a big morning person, so I think that's why the rest of the group were like, yeah, let's jump on. Because anyone who's like a night owl, they like that kind of challenge. But I'm a morning person. At 4 o'clock, 4:30, I'm like, hey. Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought I was a morning person at like 7:30 bouncing out of bed, but that is like next level.
The time 8 p.m, I'm like, oh.
Yes, they were like snuggled up on the sofa. And so your idea when you were reading the book for the headwear and the fitness, that's where Bind London has come about, is like those two things. What did that very initial idea look like when you were reading your book?
So the book's called Slaying Your Lane. It's called Slaying Your Lane, the Black Girl's Bible. And that business chapter specifically outlined using like aspects of ourselves, our experiences as Black women, and using that, how it gave examples of women who have really taken that on board and used it to create great businesses. So I wasn't thinking of a business idea. I don't know, randomly I'd actually thought of my friend. So I was thinking of hair, I was thinking of protective hairstyles and like braiding and twisting, and I thought for my friend that'd be really good to do, but promote it in the fitness sense, because for many Black women of colour, protecting our hair when we're working out is quite challenging. So I thought of my friend, because I can't plait hair. I can just about do. I'm terrible. And it went from idea of protective hairstyles to material that you can use to wrap hair. So then I thought of head wraps, and that's where it kind of stemmed from. And then I was looking up lots of fashion images. Pinterest was like a big inspiration, and you see a lot of head wraps in like the fashion sense, but not in the fitness arena. So I just started playing with the idea, and I was like, we can do like a fusion here. And then as time went on, it became more of this doesn't need to be one product here, it can be like a line, and then it just opens up the arena to who can actually wear it. And then just having conversations with women, it just kind of organically evolved into this and a line of 6 pieces.
So describe the 6 pieces for everybody. So you've got a traditional kind of, in inverted commas, like just a headband, a simple one.
Yeah, so there's 2 bands, fitness bands. There's like a thinner one to just keep your hair back, and then there's like a thicker one just for a bit more coverage, whether you're going for a run or, you know, for girls who want to like protect like the front of their hairline, their edges, and like the back of their hair. Then there's a head scarf and a head wrap, so either depending on how much material you want for coverage. There's the sports hijab as well, and the very last one is a do-rag. So if anyone doesn't know what a do-rag is, it's like a way to protect your hair. It's very culturally significant with Black culture. And I kind of gave that sporty, stylish element to it.
Yeah. And what are they made out of? How did you find the fabric that you wanted to use?
Sourcing the fabric was I won't say a nightmare. That's
you can say nightmare, it's fine. Like, fabric sourcing is something pretty much everybody struggles with, I'd say.
So I was very specific on what it needs to be. So predominantly it needs to be sweat wicking, because otherwise it's not going to do what it says on the tin. And also needs to be a silky material that gives it that really nice edge, but also just to educate my community more, because with Black women, a lot of us use like silk and satin to protect our hair when we go to bed, but that's not necessarily what we need when we're training. So a lot of people know that. So I had to really be really clear to manufacturers on what I needed, but I didn't know what it was I needed. I just needed so I sent emails out to way over 100 manufacturers and said, do you have material that can be sweat wicking, this, and a lot of them just emailed and said no. He just quite blunt and said, like, I got quite a few emails which was just no. Or hi, no.
Thanks,
regards. I was like, oh wow. So I got 2 emails, and one who I ended up going with said, yeah, of course we do. So
I was like thank you.
But then we were able to have a call, and then we got 2 different fabrics now. So the great thing is with this first line, I'm going to make sure I get the feedback from, the customers to make sure that it is what they want as much as what I want, and take them on the journey with me, and know that this is something that's going to develop, and really want to get into the tech space as well. So a lot more to come with regards to fabric and material.
Yeah. And when it came to funding it, it's not cheap to start a brand, as I'm sure lots of people listening will know. Was crowdfunding your only choice, like, to take it forward, or was that always the plan?
That wasn't always the plan, just because I just didn't have the balls to do it.
Yeah.
So I do have a mentor. I've got 2 amazing mentors, and they did always share, crowdfunding's an option. They never said you must do crowdfunding. They were like, crowdfunding is an option, and I did kind of disregard it a little bit. So whenever, like, I'd go to events, lots of fashion events or business events, I'd always ask the same question: how do you get funding?
Yeah.
And just kind of dismiss the crowdfunding option. I did self-fund as well, so I think it's important that people know it's good to invest. I sold a lot of my designer items on eBay. It was a bit painful, not gonna lie. I just thought the reality is I can't start this brand and struggle with funding when I've got Gucci items in my home. It doesn't make sense to me. So it needed to go. They just needed to go.
That's full commitment, that is, selling the Gucci. Yeah.
But it's the investment that I was prepared to make. Because when I got those things, I was in education. I had a fantastic income for my job. I wasn't even thinking about buying London. It wasn't even a seed of an idea. But as things change, when you've got a real passion for something, you want to do whatever it takes to get it done. So I sold a lot of the stuff on eBay just to get it started, and then I started toying with the idea of a crowdfund.
Yes. And you went with Natwest, right? She means business. What's it called?
Natwest Back Her Business.
Back Her Business. That's it.
Yeah.
And did you have to go through some sort of application process, I imagine?
Yeah. The application process isn't that difficult. I think some people think it's really challenging. It's not. It's quite a simple application. The main thing they want to check is that you're female, to be honest, because at her business, so you can't have anyone pretending to be female when they're not. And they just want to check that you do have a business idea, because it is a match funding opportunity. So NatWest provides you with 50% of funding of whatever you raise. So they need to make sure that what you're saying is legit, and you're not using it to, take the mickey, basically.
Yeah. And what were those first? So when you got the approval through, what did you do? Like, where do you start? I guess, did your mentor kind of guide you through that process? 'Cause you've got to have the story, you've got to have the video.
Yeah. So fortunately, a couple of the other 3 of the other guys in our mentorship group had gone first, so they had crowdfunded before. So the first girl, Kayleigh, she actually crowdfunded just before lockdown. So her crowdfund started before lockdown, and then lockdown started, and we were all like, oh my God, what's going to happen? When she saw it through, and we thought, okay, well, she can do it. So maybe we can do it. So we all kind of got a bit more confidence after seeing one of our own kind of first. I'm very, very much an over planner. I'm very meticulous of everything. So I was like, this crowdfund needs to be like this. And it did not go like that at all.
How did that feel?
Oh, God. Really frightening. It's good to have a plan in place. I definitely advise having a plan in place, but don't overly plan. It kind of enjoy the ride, because it is a ride. So as long as you know you've got some people who are going to pledge, and then NatWest are really good with making sure that you've got your content there. They advise a video, and they do provide you with really good resources. So as long as you follow a lot of what they say, you're set up basically.
Yeah. And were you like used to talking to the camera? Because you did it. Well, I watched your video. It was so natural.
I'm used to talk to the camera because I've been forced to.
Yeah.
When,
I guess even with your teaching as well, like you're talking to a crowd.
so yeah. Again, like one thing I'd advise is, again, not to necessarily over plan. Like I don't have fancy lighting. I mean, I'm talking to you on my iPad's popped up on books. I have no tripod. The like conditions don't need to be perfect. I'm in my room. I just put the camera on and just speak from the heart, and hopefully it just comes across.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that actually when I watched the video, that it wasn't in like a studio or something. I think it's more important just to be really engaging and tell an authentic story. And sometimes I hate the word authentic because it's so overused, but it really was that I don't know, it's just something that you had dealt with personally, and it came about in a really organic way. And I don't know, I was sold. I was like, yep. I like it. And I liked you as well. I think that's a big part of it, is just like, please like me and my idea, like trust me that I'm going to make it work.
That's the thing. I think in this time and this age of having a brand and a fashion brand, hyper aware and sensitive to the fact that people are as interested in the founder as they are in the brand. And I know I do it. When I follow a brand, I go on Instagram, I look in the bio, and I'm like, right, who's the founder? Let me just nosy who they are. Scroll, yeah, I'm going to follow them. Yeah, there's just no kind of, I wouldn't say no room for being shy. Be who you are. But I think for the crowdfund, you have to put yourself out there as a person.
Yeah.
Brand, yeah.
And did you have to kind of reach out to people to donate, or maybe like, is the word donate and it's a crowdfund?
Yeah, donate/pledge, yeah, either.
Pledge, yeah. And so did you have like a list of people that you wanted to reach out to? Like, how do you kind of get the ball rolling with it?
Yeah, so always make sure you have like a group of people to pledge in your first few days. So a lot of the people in my network who are also business owners pledged first, which was great because they knew my idea, they were very supportive, so they pledged straight away. And then I went through like my WhatsApp, because it's like the people who I've engaged with most recently, because I think it's harder when you're trying to reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in like 10 years, like, hey,
yeah.
That's an uncomfortable kind of conversation. So yeah, the people who I've spoken to, who know about the brand, and then thank goodness it got press coverage, and that was great, because once I was able to share that on the two main platforms, well, I shared on Instagram, but Facebook and LinkedIn. So that got a lot of likes. So I took those likes and saw everybody who liked, and then I went in the DMs, and it was, thank you so much for liking the article. Would it be possible for you to support the crowdfund with a pledge? Even if it's £1, it really helps towards the supporter number. And yeah, that was a really great strategy, because people are like, yeah, of course. And what I thought might be a £1 pledge ended up being like £10 or £20 or more. So yeah, it was really great.
And so what was that press coverage? Is that the thing in the Metro?
Yes. Yeah.
And how did that come about?
That was, I saw that on Twitter. So I follow the hashtag journal request, and you're able to see any journalist who wants to feature anything. So it just came at the right time. Natalie, who works for the Metro, was looking for news stories during lockdown, interesting news stories during lockdown. And I went into Twitter and said, well, I'm crowdfunding. during a pandemic, and that was enough. Give me the story. Give me the story. And then it went out literally 2 days later.
Incredible. And when the pandemic hit, did you consider like pausing it all and thinking, yeah?
I was just like, I'll wait till after. I'll wait till it's over. And then, I thought, okay, well, we're a couple of weeks in, and I also thought where I want the brand to go. I didn't know when lockdown's going to finish, and everything was just too up in the air. And then I was doing a video. I like to give like a little IGTV every week, giving an update. And I just thought, because of my brand message, and my brand slogan is Brave, Bold, Bind, I thought, well, this is probably going to be the bravest thing I do, to do this crowdfund during a pandemic. And I thought, what's the worst that's going to happen? The worst that happen is I don't get it, and that's okay. I'll move on. At least people see I had the balls to even start. So you just give it a go. Never know. It worked out.
And actually it kind of worked in your favor, because a lot of people, I know it's not for everybody, but a lot of people got put on furlough, so they were still getting paid but had all this extra time on their hands to be on social media, looking on LinkedIn, looking on Twitter. And so actually I heard something my friend said recently, that was Pinterest, I know it's not technically social media, but it got the highest number of views or visitors on their page ever, like since it launched during lockdown. Wow. Because there's just so many more people online. So actually you might have done better. I mean, obviously you'll never have that comparison, but it might have actually done better during lockdown than if it wasn't.
It worked out really, really well. I was just really overwhelmed by the love and support. I think when the anxiety of a crowdfund is no one's going to pledge, and I think during the pandemic it was the mindset of no one has any money to pledge, and it's a fashion brand, it's not a charity. All those things were going through my mind, but then when you start, and you just, especially when there's people you don't know who pledge, and you're getting support for people who really champion the message, it makes you feel really, really good. It really does. So I think that was great. And then, like the Metro article, that I was able to have my target audience naturally come to me, naturally come to the page, and had great DM chats, and also got in touch with you through the DMs. So it's the connections have been insane over the past 5 weeks. It's been really lovely.
I imagine you get on like a bit of an addictive high from it, like when you're saying you were checking the numbers every day and it's going up and up and up, and you're getting closer and closer, and constantly refreshing that crowdfund page every hour. And then I would stop it, and so it's like a strategy which probably was annoying, but it worked in my favor. I'd constantly screenshot the crowdfund homepage and put on my Instagram stories and my Facebook stories, and like, here is where it is, and then I chunk it down, like 150 to go, 100 to go, £67 to go. So I think some people probably just pledged to be like, okay, we get it,
get you over the line, goodness sake.
Yeah, I think it was really exciting to follow though, when I was like, oh my God, she's done it. And it's like you're bringing everybody along with you, and the fact that you did that and you were posting every single day, and people, it's not, I think it's highly unlikely that people were like, shut up already. I think what's more likely is that everyone was like, oh my God, she's nearly there. And it's really exciting to get everybody involved. And from what you're saying, it sounds just like creating that community spirit. And even earlier you mentioned like, I used to go to lots of events, and putting yourself out there, and meeting lots of new people and staying in touch with them is a bit of a winner when it comes to a crowdfund. Yeah,
definitely. And it, in many ways, it ended up being a great marketing tool, and a free marketing tool. it's just your opportunity to get yourself out there. You're doing all these things on social media, so people are your brand's exposed, and especially once you get you know, opportunities in the press and things, then it's great. So yeah, it was like a great pre-launch marketing tool without it meaning to be. So yeah, and then it's great because once I, you know, got to Target, then so many people are like, people know they were a part of it as well. So
yeah. And did you notice like an extra layer of exposure once the Black Lives Matter movement kicked in?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because it was a really it was a challenging time. So the day that it was Blackout Tuesday was the same day that I actually hit my target with the crowdfund.
Oh,
so
wow.
it was interesting because there was a real high on one sense and a real low on the other sense. And I didn't post that I hit target. I thought it's just not appropriate. So yeah, it was really that was a really strange day, I've got to be honest. And then the day after, I posted that I hit target, and I think from there, I had the people who had pledged, and like my friends and people in like our business group be really supportive. But then what had happened from there was other businesses, other non-Black businesses especially, being more aware of Black-owned businesses and you know, wanting to make more of a conscious effort of recognizing brands like mine and many others. So again, that was helpful because the brand was being shared amongst other platforms, which again was organic, necessary, and yeah, great for the brand.
Yeah, maybe slightly overdue as well.
Yeah.
And so what would you say like are the big things that you've learned, like, or what worked really well that you would advise other people to do if they're like looking to follow in your footsteps?
Like with regards to starting a brand or
with the crowdfunding, yeah.
Starting a crowdfunding, there's so many tips. So many tips. Well, okay, so one, prepare.
Yeah.
And reach out on lots of different platforms. Don't be afraid to ask, I think is a key thing. Just ask. The worst that could happen is someone say no, and most of the time people won't. So I got some pledges through Instagram, some through my Facebook profile. I got a lot from LinkedIn, like a hell of a lot from LinkedIn. And maybe for anyone who's using the Instagram space and not utilizing LinkedIn, that is a great platform to really get in touch with people, really support the brand. Where you can get in the press, that brand exposure is really, really helpful, because it gets you out there, and then it helps get the pledges as well. Those are like my top tips. I can't remember how.
With the LinkedIn thing, I think it made me laugh. Somebody said about LinkedIn before that they messaged them, and like somebody that is like crazy influential and really high up in their business, and they were like, and they actually replied, but they replied being like, oh, nobody's ever messaged me on LinkedIn before, this is exciting. Nobody uses LinkedIn Messenger, and so actually you've got a really good chance of getting a reply from somebody on there, because on Instagram DMs it's just like constantly moving, whereas the LinkedIn messages I feel like are a bit more stagnant. And it linking back to the journalism thing as well, whenever I've messaged a journalist on LinkedIn, they've always replied. Because sometimes I'd get one, I'm like, oh, something that's not spam, like it's like an actual conversation.
LinkedIn is very underutilized. Gary Vee mentions it a lot about using LinkedIn. And what was great as well is that there were a lot of people on LinkedIn who pledged, and they were quite open. They said, oh, I hardly ever get LinkedIn messages. I'm normally on Instagram. But then it was great because I was like, great, let's move the conversation to Instagram. That's what I would say. We'd connect over LinkedIn, and then we'd end up following each other on Instagram. So yeah, LinkedIn is a great platform.
Yeah. And so are you going to take any time out to kind of recover from this process, or are you going to launch and then think about it?
I took a weekend to recover.
Good.
I did cheeky Nando's and and relaxed, and took the time to soak it all in, because you're going like 120 miles an hour, and even when I hit target, it takes a few days for your brain to just kind of start to wind down, because I'd hit the target on Tuesday, on the blackout Tuesday, like I said, but my deadline for the crowdfund was Friday, so you're still pretty wired.
Yeah.
Within that headspace on the Friday, and then I relaxed a little bit on the Saturday, but then on the Saturday I ended up jumping on BBC Radio London, which was amazing. So yeah, I was still pretty wired from that. So I did relax the day after. So yeah.
And when are you looking to launch it?
August. So that's the plan. So once Natwest provide me with the funding, I'm able to, really get things moving and rolling. Things need to be ordered, so I've got to take into account, lead times and delivery times and things. So once that's in, then I can, use the month of July to, do the pre-launch and go for an August launch, really. So I mean, again, I started to question and doubt whether August was a good time, because that's normally like summer holidays and people go away. No one's going anywhere, so
this is not a normal August.
So we'll continue on with August.
Yeah, incredible. And so for anybody that wants to stay in touch with you or follow you, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So please follow the Bind London journey. I'm on all the socials as Bind London, so at Bind, BIND London, mainly on Instagram, but I'm also on Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. And then the website to subscribe to the tribe is bindlondon.com.
Thank you so much. I've learned loads about crowdfunding, and I'm so glad I got someone like you, where it's like hot off the press and it's like really
just done.
Done, exactly. No more crowdfunding for now. Well, thank you for being such a wonderful guest, and we'll stay in touch until August at least. Thanks
for having me.
See you later.
Thank you.